That's a you.
What's your name?
Johnson.
Rasta Hawata.
Your Christian name.
Jeremiah.
You've probably seen it. The iconic meme of a bearded man nodding in approval, a quiet yet oddly satisfying reaction gif that's been shared across the internet. But did you know this viral moment comes from a 1972 Western classic? That's right. Jeremiah Johnson, starring Robert Redford, is the film behind the nod. And here's the kicker. It's based on the brutal, larger-than-life tale of a real man. Let's dive into the fascinating and sometimes savage backstory of Jeremiah Johnson, a movie that's just as legendary as the meme it spawned. The film Jeremiah Johnson is a rugged and introspective tale of survival, vengeance, and human resilience. Directed by Sidney Pollack, it stars Robert Redford in one of his most defining roles. The movie follows Jeremiah, a Mexican-American War veteran, who retreats to the Rocky Mountains to escape civilization. Along the way, he learns survival skills from the eccentric Bear Claw, played by Will Geer, adopts a mute boy named Caleb, and marries Swan, a Native American woman played by Del Bolton. But his life takes a tragic turn when his family is killed by a Crow war party after he unknowingly violates their sacred burial grounds. The loss transforms Jeremiah into a vengeful legend, battling the Crow in a near-mythic cycle of violence and survival. What makes this story even more fascinating is its basis in real history. The real Jeremiah Johnson, born John Jeremiah Garrison in New Jersey in 1824, had an even darker tale. After deserting the U.S. Navy during the Mexican-American War, he headed west, adopting the name John Johnston. He soon became a skilled trapper and hunter, carving out a life in the unforgiving wilderness. His legend began after he married a member of the Flathead tribe. According to lore, while he was away trapping, a Crow war party raided his home, killing his pregnant wife. When Johnson returned and discovered their bodies, his grief turned into a blood-soaked vendetta. Unlike the more tempered vengeance shown in the film, Johnson's quest for retribution in real life was savage and unrelenting. He swore revenge not just against the specific raiders, but against the entire Crow tribe. Over the next 2 decades, he reportedly killed and scalped over 300 Crow warriors. To cement his reputation as a fearsome foe, he was said to cut out and eat the livers of his enemies, an act tied to the belief that consuming the liver of a foe granted strength. This gruesome habit earned him the nickname Liver-Eating Johnson. While some historians debate the accuracy of these tales, they've become a defining part of his legend, blurring the line between history and myth. The film adapts this legendary tale with a mix of reverence and creative liberty. For example, Johnson's vendetta against the Crow is portrayed as a result of accidental sacrilege rather than a personal grudge. The liver-eating detail is omitted entirely, likely to make the character more palatable to audiences. But the core essence of the story, one man's struggle to survive and make sense of life in the wilderness, remains intact. The production of Jeremiah Johnson was itself a testament to perseverance. The studio initially wanted to film on a Hollywood backlot to save costs, but Pollack and Redford insisted on shooting on location in Utah. The decision paid off as the film's breathtaking visuals of the Rocky Mountains became one of its defining features. Redford personally scouted many of the nearly 100 filming locations, leveraging his knowledge of the area where he owned property. However, filming in the harsh Utah winter was grueling. Temperatures often dropped to minus 25 degrees Fahrenheit, causing frostbite, strep throat, and pneumonia among the cast and crew. Redford, ever the daredevil, performed many of his own stunts, from trekking through deep snow to handling a 600-pound grizzly bear on set. Despite the conditions, the production came in on budget, thanks in part to Pollack mortgaging his home to cover costs. One of the most memorable aspects of the movie is its quiet episodic structure, which mirrors Johnson's solitary journey. There's minimal dialogue. with much of the story told through visuals and music. The score, composed by Tim McIntyre and John Rubinstein, blends haunting melodies with folk themes, perfectly capturing the film's tone. Interestingly, the music came about due to budget constraints. The production couldn't afford a big-name composer, so they turned to two actor-musicians who had never scored a film before. The cast brought the story to life with authenticity and grit. Will Geer's portrayal of Bear Claw added humor and warmth to an otherwise somber tale. Del Bolton, a relatively unknown actress, was cast as Swan after an exhaustive search, and her quiet strength added depth to Jeremiah's family life. Josh Alby's role as Caleb, the mute boy, provided a poignant connection for the otherwise solitary mountain man. Together, they created a narrative that felt deeply human despite its mythic undertones. The film concludes with a powerful moment of peace as Jeremiah meets the Crow Chief, paints his shirt red. Instead of fighting, the two exchange gestures of respect, signaling an end to their conflict. It's a haunting, ambiguous ending that reflects the complexity of the story, a blend of vengeance, survival, and the search for meaning. The legacy of Jeremiah Johnson extends far beyond its release. The movie became a box office hit, earning $44 million against its $4 million budget, and was the first Western ever screened in competition at the Cannes Film Festival. Its quiet pacing and introspective tone stood out in a genre often defined by action and bravado. And of course, it gave us the iconic nodding meme, a moment that captures the rugged charm of Redford's performance. As for the real Jeremiah Johnson, his story didn't end with vengeance. After decades of fighting, he eventually made peace with the Crow, even referring to them as his brothers. He later served as a soldier, a deputy sheriff, and a town marshal before passing away in 1900. His body was initially buried in Los Angeles, but after the success of the film, his remains were moved to Cody, Wyoming, fulfilling his wish to rest in the wilderness he loved. Ultimately, Jeremiah Johnson is more than just a movie. It's a timeless tale of resilience, loss, and redemption, anchored by Redford's unforgettable performance. Whether you came for the meme or stayed for the story, one thing is clear: this is a legend worth remembering. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know the real story behind Jeremiah Johnson and his infamous nickname, Liver Eating Johnson? And have you ever mistaken the iconic nod for Zach Galifianakis? Let us know in the comments below.